Look at this, y'all. Concord. PlayStation announced that its hero shooter Concord will be taken offline on September 6th, 2024, and all players will receive a full refund. I have to chuckle. I have to laugh. I've been trashing this game on Twitter since its launch. I just thought it was funny that people are fighting up so hard on two sides of it. You have people ragging on because of this. You have people defending it because of that. This, to me, the game looked so bad when I first saw it. When it was first announced, I thought it was a copy, a clone that was poorly done. And I was like, why are people even paying attention to this game? Right. Well, sure enough, when it dropped, many people didn't pay attention to the game. It really was bad. And I guess I was correct in that assumption. But there's still a lot of fighting in there. So, game director Ryan Ellis said, while many qualities of the experience resonate with the players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game on our initial launch didn't land the way we intended. Yeah, I bet it didn't land the way it intended with those kind of numbers. Concord would therefore be taken offline so Sony developer Firewalk Studios can explore options, including those that will better reach our players. So they're not gone for good. However, this is still an interesting line because they had an open beta. Yeah, they had an open beta. Only 2,000 people played it concurrently. 2,200, I think, was the peak on the open beta. Now, did you ignore what they said and decided to be like, oh, well, you know better than you guys, and we're just going to release the game still? And then it flopped, and now they're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe they were right. Now we have to go back to the playbook and redo something. Whatever it is that they identify as not resonating with players or to make it better reach, this is terrible because this was their final product. This wasn't like it's still a beta. So like Multiverses did this, right? Multiverses had a beta. They were in beta though, had a lot of people play it for a while. And then they shut everything down and told everybody we got what, the information we need. We're going to do better. They wound up scrapping a lot of stuff and rebuilding. And then they made a new product, a year later, whatever it was. And then became the game. But that was because it was a beta. This isn't a beta that they're messing with. This was the final product. And now they're shutting it down. And either they're going to redo it. I doubt it, by the way. I think Sony's going to be like, nah, that's it. It's done. I think you say this, right, to kind of save face. I just don't see financially how Sony will back redoing the whole entire game. 8 years to develop, by the way. 8 years to develop what they have. And you're going to sit there and try to tinker with stuff after the fact, after it failed? You really think Sony's going to be like, yeah, we'll give you more money to do that? No way. There's just no way. So the game would be removed from sale immediately, and anyone who purchased on the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct will be refunded to their original payment methods. Those who purchase on Steam and the Epic Game Store will be refunded in the coming days. Physical refunds are a tad trickier, but players can check with individual retailers to obtain a refund. Sony will presumably organize a system with them itself that allows all refunds to be processed fully. Once refunded, players are not going to have access to the game. Sony made clear, which is true, and then on top of that, the game is going to be offline anyway since September 6th, so they're not going to have access no matter what. Concord pulled less than 2 weeks after launch. Concord arrived August 23rd, 2024, meaning it has been 11 days after launch and taken offline for all players a mere 2 weeks after. Even those who bought Concord will no longer be able to play after September 6th. So yeah, the game is going offline all the way September 6th, or after September 6th. Yeah, 11 days before they cease sales, 2 weeks before it's been dead. Its launch was nothing short of disastrous, analysts telling IGN that it's likely sold as few as 25,000 units. It debuted to a tragic 697 peak concurrent players on Steam. We'll come back to that number here in a little bit. A number that made the 12,786 players on Suicide Squad, which was dubbed a disappointment by Warner Bros. Discovery boss David Zaslav and caused a $200 million hit revenue to look like a titan. Yeah, I mean, if 12,700 was a flop, I mean, what's 700? I mean, that's I mean, it's not even, I mean, it's its own definition. It's its own word. It's a new word. We call it the Concord. When something flops so badly that it makes a flop look like a hit, we call it a Concord. There you go. This comes after 8 years of development. We just talked about the 8 years. And presumably tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars spent by Sony. It has to be in the hundreds of millions. They have their own controller. They made a controller for the game. They thought this was going to be successful. The company already said to be shifting gears away from live service heavy future. Sony President Hiroki committed to launching just 6 of 12 live service games in development, and one based on The Last of Us has already been canceled. All right, so a couple of things we want to talk about here. The 697p concurrent on Steam. That's a big number. Look, I get it. Everybody wants to know, why did it fail? How did it fail? Was it because of the chuds? Was it because of Grums and them? Is it because of, whatever? I'm just going to tell you with my own two eyes what happened, right? Because every single review that I saw, they had a couple of things they wanted to blame it on. They were blaming it on the $40 price tag, which to me was laughable, because the game came out at the same time as Wukong. Wukong was $30 more, and everybody bought that game with no problem. So it's not the financials. It's not the financials. If a game is fun and it's $40, that should be an easy win, right? So someone is lying somewhere, and this is where I say I'm gonna use my own two eyes. The open beta for this game had 2,000 people concurrently playing on Steam. If the game was so much fun, as everybody says it is, then why did 1,300 people not buy the game and play it again? Because on Steam, because it went from 2,000 to 700 basically. That means 1,300 people had so much fun they decided not to play. Tell me, does that make any sense? No, it does not. So there is definitely something in the beta that 2,000 people did not like, or that 1,300 people, those 2,000 people did not like. And it could be more. I could be underestimating the open beta. It might be 2,200 open beta people that were playing, and it's 1,500 that didn't buy the game. So let's just stick with the 2,000 though, because that seems to be the round number that everybody's been using for the open beta, which is a poor number in itself for beta. I think the Rivals had 12,000 during that time on the concurrent. So if it was so fun, so much fun and loved, right? Like these articles kept trying to tell everybody during its launch, that number should have been 4,000 concurrent on Steam. Word of mouth is pretty powerful stuff. I've never seen a word of mouth go the opposite direction. This game is so much fun. I'm telling you guys, right? Especially if they're content creators that were playing this game is so much fun that I'm telling you guys to don't buy it instead. I'm not going to buy it either. It's so much fun. We're not going to play it. Now, does that make any sense? No, of course not. You could have had at least the same 2,000 people if it was so much fun. But that didn't happen. That tells me that it was not as fun as you guys say it is. I mean, someone is lying big time. The game is not fun. If the game is so much fun, why did y'all not buy the game? Rivals is a lot of fun so far, right? Marvel Rivals. I'm gonna buy that game when it drops. It might be free or whatever, but I'm just saying, even if it had a price tag, I'm gonna buy it. Wukong looked like fun and I bought it. I didn't even get to play a beta for that. It looked like fun and I bought it. So how in the world can you honestly sit there and tell people that the game was so much fun that you didn't buy it? That makes no sense. 2,000 people playing open beta and only 700 returned when the game dropped. That game was not a lot of fun. That game had problems. There was something in there that people did not like. And those are the 2,000 people that were playing that game. You can't say that it's because of this or that, or because somebody tweeted this, or someone's blaming this and they're part of that group. No, because that's the 2,000 people that were playing it in the beta. So that means they liked everything about the game at the start. But there was something about the game that they did not like, whether it was the funness of it, the playability of it. There's something in the game that made them say, no way, I'm not paying money for it, and I'm not returning on Steam. And they obviously didn't buy the game and they didn't tell other people to buy it. So that leads me to believe the game is no fun. The game is no fun. If because like again, if the game is that much fun, it should succeed. Wukong successful because it's fun. Stellar Blade successful because it's fun. Harry Potter successful because it's fun. And the reason why I bring those games specifically is because they also had a lot of people trying to make hit pieces, or I wouldn't play this because of that, and make it, some kind of political thing, and etc. But they succeeded despite all that. In spite of people saying I'm not playing it because of this, or I believe this and that, so I'm not playing it because of this. It still wound up getting sales. It still wound up getting some records, and it definitely had a lot of people playing it concurrently. All of those games, and the biggest difference that I can say in all of them is that those were fun games. I played them; they were fun. This one, though, if it was so much fun, it would have it would be successful. It's not successful, and now look, they're being taken offline. So someone's lying. That's all I'm saying. Somebody is lying. Maybe you need to step back and look at the games you're defending and be like, you know what? Why am I even defending this? I get it. You don't want somebody to win. You don't want some side to have like a notch on their belt and all that stuff. I get that. You want to fight the good fight, but sometimes you got to look and be like, yeah, what am I doing here, man? Let me just get out of here. Anyways, what do you guys think? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me how you feel. Is Concord a fun game that is just misunderstood? I don't know. Why do you think the game failed? To me, it just seems simple. The game is no fun, no good. Y'all have a good one.